Today, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Rather than fixing computers, I'm gonna show you how to annoy people with them. Stay tuned. So this channel is pretty much dedicated to fixing computer problems. But while I was thinking of a video idea this week, I thought, why don't we break some computers for a change? So today, I'm gonna show you 10 different computer pranks that you can play on your friends and family. But first, I gotta pay some bills. So check out today's sponsor. Is your copy of Windows 10 unactivated? Well, it doesn't have to be, because with today's sponsor, VIP SCD Key, you can get a valid Windows 10 license for under $20. Stop dealing with that stupid watermark on the desktop, the valid license for Windows 10. Also, with an activated copy of Windows 10, you can upgrade to Windows 11 for free. Just go to the link in the description below and pick up a valid Windows 10 license key. During checkout, use the code CYBERCPU for a 25% discount. Once you have your key, go to your activation settings in Windows 10 and click on the link that says Change Product Key. Enter the product key you just purchased and hit Activate. Now you don't have to deal with that stupid watermark that come with running an unactivated copy of Windows 10. Now, on with the video. So, I have to give a warning at the beginning of this video that if you're going to play any of these pranks on someone, make sure it's someone with a good sense of humor, because I'd hate to be responsible for you losing friends. And trust me, some of these pranks can legitimately lose you friends. So with that said, some of these pranks you've probably seen before. I know some of them I've known since I was in school, so they'll be around. They've been around for quite a while. However, there's a few that I'm going to show you today that are at least new to me. Also, some of these pranks can be done fairly quickly with very little technical knowledge, and others require a little bit of setup time. So the prank you choose is going to depend on how much time you have with the computer. So, what do you say we jump on the computer and get started? Okay, this first prank is one of my favorites. However, you're gonna have to make sure that if you're gonna play this prank on someone, it has to be someone with somewhat of a cluttered desktop. As you can see, I've got a bunch of icons on my desktop here, and I put these icons here specifically just for this prank. Typically, I don't leave my desktop this cluttered, especially not one that I'm filming a video on. However, this one here is to simulate essentially a frozen computer. And the way you do this is actually relatively easy. What you do is, first off, you're going to want to hide your mouse pointer somewhere. So I would slide it over to the right-hand side of the screen. If you go to the left-hand side of the screen, it won't go off the screen. You see how it just kind of sits there? So if you go to the right-hand side, you'll see that it almost completely leaves the screen. So once you do that, all you got to do is push your window key and print screen, and you'll see it turn black like that. And essentially what we're doing is taking a screenshot of our screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into our pictures, go into our screenshots, and as you can see when we open this up, we have a screenshot of our dirty screen. Now, all you have to do here is just right click and go over to the bottom, hit set as background. And as you can see, nothing looks like it changed, because essentially all we've done is made the picture that we just took our background. So if we move an icon out of the way, you'll see that we have two of them now. However, this doesn't work with the icons in place. So the way you get rid of them is just to right click on the background and then go view and hit show desktop icons. And by doing that, it essentially hides all the desktop icons, but you have a picture of the icons that when people try to click, of course, nothing works. It just essentially does nothing. However, your start menu and your taskbar still work, as you can see right here. So what you can do is you can actually right click, hit taskbar settings. Now in Windows 10, this is going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to show you how to do it in Windows 11. Now go to taskbar behaviors, and from here, right here when it says automatically hide the taskbar, go ahead and check on that, and it'll hide the taskbar. And now, as you can see, once you click here, it will show your taskbar, it just won't show up. Now, if someone moves their mouse down to the bottom of the screen, of course, it will come up and work. So if they just try to click on it like this, of course it won't. But like I said, if you just move it down just a little bit, it'll open up. Now, this was easier in Windows 10 because you could actually relocate the taskbar up to the top of the screen and hide it that way. So it's a little bit easier to hide. Unfortunately, with Windows 11, they don't give you that option anymore. So we're stuck with it the way it is. So the frozen desktop prank is a pretty old one. It's one that I've at least been using for a really long time, and I'm sure it's one that you've seen before. However, I had to include it in this list because it's definitely a classic, and it still works really well. However, the next prank might be a new one to you, and it's equally as hilarious. However, it's kind of mean. Let me show you. Okay, this one here is the fake update prank, and all you're gonna have to do with this one is go to a website, and it turns out that Chrome won't open, of course, because I've auto hid the taskbar. So let's go through and undo this real quick so we can finish the rest of the video. Look at that. I actually fell for my own prank. Can you imagine that? All right, so if we open up Chrome right here, we're gonna go to the fakeupdate.net. And I'm gonna leave these links in the description before, but if you go to fakeupdate.net, it's pretty easy. And it gives you a whole list of different updates that you can use right here. And some of these aren't even updates. Some of them are actually fake viruses, which are equally as bad. However, on this one, we're just gonna do a fake update. And this is really easy to do. Essentially, all you do is pick the operating system you're using. So in this case, we're gonna be using Windows 11. So we click on the Windows 11 update, and obviously, this doesn't sell the update because it's in a window. However, if you push F11, it makes it full screen so that when the person comes back, they look at their screen, and doesn't matter how they click or anything else they hit, if they hit escape, it also won't exit out of it. What's even better though, is if they hit enter, it'll give them a fake blue screen. So this one is kind of mean. However, if you hit F11 and close this, let me show you another one here too. If you have somebody that you know that really hates Windows 11 and they're still on Windows 10, this one you can use to really get them going. And that one's installing Windows 11. So same thing, you click on it, hit F11, and it says they're installing Windows 11. And the cool thing about this is it goes through the same process. It gives you a percentage, and if you hit enter, it blue screens, just like the last one did. So one of the things that makes the fake update prank so believable is the fact that Windows is always updating at inconvenient times. So most people won't get suspicious that they might sit in front of their computer for quite a while waiting for the update to complete. That's kind of what makes the prank so funny. I also think that the upgrading to Windows 11 version of this prank is hilarious when your unsuspecting victim is someone who hates Windows 11. Because as he's sitting there watching the screen, he's thinking about the time he's going to have to spend to go back to Windows 10. Extra points if he starts yelling profanities. Those profanities are going to get a lot louder if he hits the enter key and gets the blue screen. And speaking of blue screens, let's jump back on the computer and I'll show you how to create a fake blue screen of death. Okay, so let's kill this blue screen right here by hitting F11, and then we're gonna go back a couple times. And then for this one right here, this is another website that you have to go to. Now this one here is actually a Microsoft program. This is part of the sysinternals program, and this is essentially just a screensaver, actually. And if you go ahead and download this, it's a small little download file. It downloads as a zip. And then if you go into your folder right here, we're gonna go ahead and extract this right here. And then from here, essentially all it is a little executable file. And when you run it, it's essentially a screensaver, but the screensaver is a blue screen. And then to get out of it, all you gotta do is hit escape and it goes back to the desktop like normal. So the thing is on this one, you have to actually run the program to get it to do the blue screen. And that, isn't as funny. I mean, you could run it and then just the blue screen is there when your unsuspecting victim comes back to their computer. However, there's a better way to do it. Let me show you how to do that. We're gonna go ahead and close all of these windows here, and we're gonna go ahead and open up Task Scheduler. And then from Task Scheduler, all you have to do is go into your Task Scheduler library, right click, create new task. And then from here, you can name it if you want. You can name it blue screen, and then go ahead and hit trigger, hit new for the trigger, and then essentially set this to whatever you want it to be. You could have it monthly, so it's kind of a long game prank, or you can have it daily if you'd like. And then also, you can also set it up to repeat the task every hour, or even better, every 5 minutes, if you really want to drive someone nuts. I'm gonna go ahead and leave mine on 5 minutes. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit OK. And then for actions, you're gonna go ahead and hit new. And then we wanna start a program, and then we wanna hit browse, and we wanna go to wherever we saved that blue screen screensaver. So we're gonna go to downloads, go into blue screen and select that, hit open, hit OK, and then hit OK again. And now, every 5 minutes, this thing will blue screen. Okay, so the one thing that you probably noticed from the fake blue screen is that it wasn't a very realistic blue screen for Windows 11. So for people that have any technical knowledge at all, they're probably going to figure out really quick that it's a prank. So, you want to know how to make a real blue screen that will fool them? Well, let me show you. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is delete this task right here. Otherwise, our computer's going to be blue screening every 5 minutes while I'm trying to film this video. So we're going to go ahead and close this. And now the next one, now this one right here, I have to give you a warning on because it could actually cause damage to a computer. So use this one with very much care. But essentially, you go to your start button, go ahead and hit regedit. And then from your registry editor right here, you want to go to the local machine and then system. And you want to go to CurrentControlSet. Then you want to go to services. And then from services, you want to go to, there's two different ways to do this. It's going to depend on whether or not you have a PS2 keyboard or a USB keyboard. Now, I have a USB keyboard, so that's the one I'm going to do, but I'll go ahead and leave the registry paths in the description for the PS2 and USB keyboard, so if you want to do it to either one. So for a USB keyboard, we want to go to kbdhid. So we're essentially, this is all alphabetical, so we go down to K's, which I think I may have, nope, there it is, kdbhid right here. And then from this one, we want to go into parameters. And then from parameters, we want to create a new Dword 32-bit value. And this is going to be CrashOnCtrlScroll. And go ahead and hit enter. We want to open this one up right here. And we want to set it to 1 and then hit OK. And then once you set this registry key, you can go ahead and close the registry and it's done. Now, all you have to do is hit the control key and hit scroll lock twice and it will give you a real blue screen. Now, the only problem with that prank is that it requires a specific key combination to be pressed in order to activate. I played around a little bit with a Visual Basic script that could use it to call the control key, but I couldn't figure out a way to call the scroll lock key. So you could probably make this one work if you installed a program like Auto Hotkey and then just create a simple Auto Hotkey script that would press Control and scroll lock twice to initiate the blue screen. Once you created the script, you could simply use the task scheduler to execute it. This prank, though, I admit, is absolutely diabolical. And what would make it even more frustrating is if you had it trigger every couple of minutes, just long enough for your technically knowledgeable friend to not be able to fire up blue screen view to realize that the crash was manually initiated. Because yeah, it really says that in blue screen view. However, once he figures it out, you better run and hide. In all seriousness though, I would be careful with this one because I played with this one before and I have inadvertently broken Windows installs with it. It's probably not a great idea to repeatedly initiate blue screens. You know, I'm just saying, you know. Now the next prank, I have to admit that I have thought about doing for years, but I've never actually done it. I'm glad I did for this video because I was going through the testing of all these pranks, and this is one of the ones that had me laughing the hardest. Let me show you why. It's seriously hilarious. Okay, this one right here is a really, really simple prank. Essentially, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be manipulating the Windows sounds, and we're going to be doing it in a way that's actually quite hilarious. So the first thing that you need is an actual sound. And what could possibly be funnier than fart sounds? So I've got a website right here that has a bunch of WAV files. You have to do this with WAV files. You can't use MP3s. So go ahead and find some WAV files of whatever sound that you want to use for this prank. So for me, it's going to be the fart sound. So on this website, you can go ahead. Yeah, these are absolutely hilarious. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the first one right here. And actually, I guess we have to right click and hit save link as. All right, we're gonna save this into our downloads folder. And for this one, I'm only gonna do the one wave, but you can download multiple different ones and change the sounds in Windows to correspond with different fart sounds if you want, or different sounds altogether. You can have cats or dogs or anything that you want that you think might annoy your unsuspecting friend or family member. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this and we're going to click on start and we're going to click on sounds. We're going to click on change system sounds and that'll open up this screen right here. Now for this one, the one I'm going to do is you can change any sound within Windows. Close program, you can change, for mine, I'm actually gonna change the open program sound, but you can do the print complete, the program error, you can do notification. So every time they get a notification, it farts, but you can change any sound that you want here. I'm gonna do open program for the example right here. So what you do is you select the system event that you wanna change the sound for. Go ahead and hit browse, go to your downloads folder and pick the WAV file that you wanted to use. And you can hit test and looks like it works. Now, once we hit apply, now every time we open a program, our computer farts. And look at that, I did it again. I'm sitting here clicking on icons and they're not opening. And there we go, and my computer's farting at the same time. So we're gonna go to view and we're gonna hit show desktop icons so we can actually do this. All right, so now, as we open up different programs, as you can see, they are all farting constantly. And that's hilarious. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. Now, I don't care who you are, but fart sounds make everyone laugh. This prank, I think, would be best done to someone around lots of people. Imagine your friend sitting at Starbucks with their laptop, with it constantly making fart sounds. I'm sorry, but that's hilarious. Let's see. Now, the next one is a super simple prank, and it's pretty effective. Let me show you how to do it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is turn off the fart sounds, because I'm gonna be laughing this whole video if we don't. All right, yeah, exactly. So the way you turn this off is go ahead and go to the event and click on none. Also, if you want, you can just go ahead and click on Windows default and hit apply to, and then it'll put all the sounds back to default. So if you change a lot of sounds, you can just change it back to default, and then you won't have to go through and change each sound, because ultimately, whoever you do that prank on is gonna be quite upset with you. Okay, so the next one that we're gonna look at is essentially, this one honestly is kind of a stupid prank, and honestly, it's most popular with Android phones, but this one here is just simply a broken screen. And this one though is a really easy one to start if you want to set up a prank real quick that you don't have a lot of time on the computer. So what you do is you just go to YouTube, find a broken screen video. This one happens to be 10 hours long right here. I would make an animated one because it would kind of make it look more realistic. And essentially all you do is just make it full screen and then walk away, and it'll look like the person's screen's broken. So like I said, that one can be done really quick. So you don't have to have much time with a computer. All you have to do is play a video and make it full screen. However, that prank has been overplayed quite a bit, I think, mostly through smartphones, but I think it still has some time left on desktops and notebooks. Now, the next prank is one that I have never thought of before, but it's probably one of the most hilarious pranks on this list. Yes, even more hilarious than your computer farting constantly. Well, it's kind of hard to top the fart sounds though, really. But this one does come close. Let me show you how to do it. Okay, so we're gonna exit out of our broken screen prank here. And the next one is by manipulating the autocorrect in Word. And this one, honestly, is quite hilarious. But for this, you're gonna need Word or some other word processor. If you use another word processor, you're gonna have to figure out how to do this prank from that word processor. This one, I'm gonna do this one from Word. So in Word, as you know, if you type things, it writes as just, it's a Word document. You know how Word works. I shouldn't have to tell you. However, what you can do is if you click on File, then go down to Options, all the way down here at the bottom, and then you go into Proofing, and then from Proofing, you want to go to Autocorrect Options. And then this right here is where you're going to have a lot of fun. Now, for me, I'm going to go ahead and write in my name, and then it's going to be replaced with Rich is Amazing. And then we're going to go ahead and hit Add, and then hit OK, and then OK again. Now, as you can see, now what I can do is every time I write Rich, it's going to automatically say is amazing. Now, there's a bunch of different variations of this prank that you can do. Like for instance, if you go into Options, into Proofing, Autocorrect, we're going to put in you, because you is a very common word that people use. Now what you can change this with is you freaking, and then hit add, and then hit okay, okay. Now when somebody writes, you need to see the boss. You freaking, and essentially it will change it every time you write the word. It will change it to the autocorrect that you just did. Now on this one, as you can see, it looks like it only does it once. Okay, on this one, obviously, it's because the U has to be capitalized. So it is case sensitive. So you have to keep that in mind when you're doing this prank. So that prank can actually get you into a lot of trouble, especially if you play it on someone that has a lot of work to do. But what makes it even funnier is if they don't notice and they turn that work in. Okay, now that I think about it, that prank can actually really lose you friends, so be really careful. Now, the next prank I have, actually, I've had to do service calls because of. So if you play this prank on someone, don't just leave it so they have to call a technician to fix it. Let's jump back on the computer and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and close Word here. No, we don't need to save that. Now, this one's a super simple prank, and this is one that you can do with relative ease on your computer. Now, the ease in which you can do this prank is going to depend on the graphics card on the computer. So I'm gonna show you the way that works on every computer, and then I'll tell you how to do it on certain systems. But this one here is essentially flipping the screen upside down. Now, if you right click on your desktop here, go into display settings, then from display settings, you scroll down and you will see right here, display orientation is currently landscape. Now, if I change this and I go to landscape flipped, it essentially reverts the screen upside down. Now, with this one right here, you have to actually say keep changes for it to keep changes. Otherwise, it'll revert back to the regular way right away. Now, at least in a couple of seconds, like it just did there. Now, the problem with this one right here is, and the reason why this one can kind of be difficult to undo is because, as I'll go ahead and do it again here real quick, is that your mouse actually changes directions too. So right now, I'm going to move my mouse up, and as you can see, it moves down. And I'm going to move it down, and it moves up. So you have to actually use the mouse in the reverse in order to push the keep changes button. Or you can push the revert button if you want to be a nice friend. Or if you want to be a mean friend, then hit keep changes. Now that one right there, there is an easy way to do this, and that's going to depend on which graphics card you use. Now, unfortunately on my system, I have an NVIDIA graphics card and it doesn't work on that. But if you have an Intel graphics card, then what you can do is you can hit Control Alt and then your arrow keys to change the landscape either upside. If you hit Control Alt up, it will be the regular default. Control Alt down will go ahead and give you the landscape flipped, but then you can also do portrait and portrait flipped as well. And if you do that, essentially all that is sideways, which hopefully didn't screw up my screen recording. But if it did, then I'll figure that out. This one is actually even harder to use the mouse because it is really, really weird. There we go. Okay, we made it go automatically. Now, I'm sure that we all have at one point or another actually used that prank. It's much easier on computers that have an Intel graphics card because you can just hit Control Alt and then the arrow keys to initiate it or to fix it. However, if you do it with somebody that has an NVIDIA or ATI graphics card, then you have to actually use the mouse in reverse to undo it. And it's not fun, as you saw from the video. However, this prank is not new with Windows 10 and 11. It dates all the way back to when I was in school. However, we didn't have simple settings in the Windows in order to make it happen. I remember years ago in high school, in my computer class, we had decided to play a prank on our teacher. We found a program that you could use to put in the startup on Windows that would essentially do the same thing. It would flip the screen upside down. We thought this would be hilarious. So, before class started, we booby-trapped the teacher's computer and then sat and waited. We would play pranks like this all the time, and we had a pretty laid-back computer teacher. However, this one we would definitely get a reaction from. At least, that's what we were hoping for. So, he came into class, flipped a switch on his computer to turn it on because back then you actually had AT power supplies. It booted up, and the screen flipped as expected. Now, We were expecting at least something, but all he did was he stood up, he picked up his CRT monitor, flipped it over, set it down, and began class. Now that I think about it, that reaction was probably the best it could have been. He essentially owned us. But if you want to truly irritate someone, this next prank will definitely do it. Let's jump back in the computer and I'll show you how to do it. All right, so this next one right here, I have to say is probably close to one of my favorites, but just because it's an extremely trolling prank. So what you're gonna need, first off, is you're gonna need to go to YouTube and find the Rickrolled video. Now, unfortunately, I can't play this video for some reason on YouTube because I'll get a copyright strike if I do. So I won't actually be able to play the video, but I'm gonna show you how to be able to Rickroll one of your friends or family members on their computer, and you can do it pretty much whenever you want and as many times as you want, which can kind of get really annoying. So first thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need this website address right here. So go ahead and copy that, and you can go ahead and close YouTube. Now, what you're gonna wanna do is go ahead and open up a text document. So for this, we're gonna go ahead and open up Notepad. So we're gonna open Notepad up, and then all we wanna type is we wanna type a specific command. So that command is going to be start Chrome, and then followed by the website address for that YouTube channel. If the person you're playing this prank on doesn't have Chrome, then you're gonna have to figure out how to start whatever browser they have from the command line. This is how you start Chrome from the command line. So we're gonna go ahead and hit File, Save As, and then this is really important right here. You wanna go ahead and save it in a spot where it's not obvious, so you might even throw it in the downloads directory. So from here, you wanna go ahead and name it first. So for me, I'm just gonna name it Rickrolled. And then from there, we want to change the text document to all files. And we want to make sure that the name is going to be CMD. And then go ahead and hit save. And then we can go ahead and close that. So now, if we go into our downloads folder, as you can see, we have a Rickrolled script. So when you run that script, it Rickrolls you. So now, how can that actually be useful? Well, it can be useful in the same way we set up a Bluescreen earlier. So we're gonna go ahead and hit start. We're gonna open up Task Scheduler. From Task Scheduler, we wanna go into the task library, right click and hit create new task. From here, we wanna go ahead and name it. I'm just gonna name it Rickrolled. And then from there, we're gonna go to triggers, hit new, and this is gonna be exactly the same way. I'm gonna set mine up daily, repeat task every 5 minutes, and then go ahead and hit okay. And then for actions, we want to go new, browse, and we want to go back to our Rickrolled script. Hit OK, OK, and then when we run it, it will Rickroll whoever it is that we want to Rickroll. Now, the thing is since I set this up for 5 minutes, it's going to continue to repeat that every 5 minutes, or to whatever schedule you set it to do it at, which is kind of what makes it funny. Now, the nice thing with this prank is that it doesn't have to be the Rickroll video. It could be any YouTube video you want. However, getting Rickrolled like every 5 minutes is kind of hilarious. In fact, I left this one on for a while I was testing all of these pranks for this video, and it still made me laugh every 5 minutes. Now, I saved the most diabolical prank for last. I'm telling you, use this one with great care, because I'm telling you right now, with great power comes great responsibility. And this prank is absolutely diabolical. Let's jump on the computer and I'll show you. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and delete this so we don't get Rickrolled right in the middle of doing this video. And we're gonna go ahead and close this and close this. Now, I'm not even kidding. This one right here, this is a diabolical prank. It is really messed up, and it's going to really mess with someone's productivity if you do this to them. But it's kind of one of the reasons that makes it so funny. Anyway, go ahead and hit start. We're gonna hit regedit. We're gonna go ahead and open the registry editor here. And then it's saved in the last place we were. We're gonna go ahead and go to local machine. We're gonna go to system. And then from system, we want to go to CurrentControlSet or ControlSet 001. And then we want to go to control. And then from there, we want to go to CI. And then from CI, we want to go into policy. And then from policy, right here where it says SKU policy required, we want to open that and change it to 1. Now, if you've done this, and if you restart this computer, what you just did is set this person's computer into Windows S mode, which means they won't be able to run any apps that aren't signed by Microsoft and came from the Microsoft Store. Yeah, that's mean. Now, remember, if you play this prank on someone, it's a lot harder to get the computer out of S mode than it is to put it into S mode. So make sure you give them a link to my video showing how to undo this. I'll go ahead and leave that link in the video description below. So here's the thing. There's two different kinds of people in this world. There are those who can take a joke, and there are those who can't. So you probably want to know what kind of person you're dealing with before you play a prank on them. Unless, of course, you don't like them. And if that's the fact, and they can't take a joke, then it kind of makes it more funny, doesn't it? Also, it's probably not a great idea to play these pranks at work because it would really suck to get fired over a joke. That would definitely be hard to explain on an unemployment application. So, what was your reason for being fired? Well, I made a coworker's computer fart every time he clicked the mouse button. You might think that's funny, and I kind of agree with you. However, your IT department doesn't think it's funny. But with all that time that you're going to spend fixing people's computers after you play these pranks on them, maybe you should try to make a business out of it. If that's something you're interested in, then check out this video here, where I show you tips and tricks on how to make money working on computers. Because if you're going to be working on them anyway, you might as well make some money doing it. As always, you guys have a great day.